Thank you, Asher. Oh, sorry. So as Ty said this morning, for those of you who went to the opening session, we are in an era of budget cuts for a lot of us. So what we're going to be talking about today is how you can take marketing and your internal resources and use them to scale out your partnership program and do that without having to get new external tools, new budgets, and really leverage what you already have. My name is Kelly Sarabyn. I'm the Platform Ecosystem Advocate at Hubspot, which nobody probably knows what that title means, so I will explain. I sort of run our function to partner marketing, so instead of co-marketing with our partners, I market to partners to try to grow our ecosystem larger and also to engage them. Prior to this role, I was leading marketing at an embedded iPaaS called Pandium. So as someone who is in the partner world and in the marketing world, I can tell you that these conversations are very different. If you ask a marketer if they have any EQLs or what the heck that is, they don't know what you're talking about. So we have two experts in this space to help us explain how you can educate marketers and use their tools. So Nicole, can you kind of share your experience?
Yeah, thank you, Kelly. And you're the third person I met today who has ecosystems in their title, so very exciting. My name's Nicole Draa, like Dr. Dre. You can call me Dre. I have a direct sales background of over 10 years in B2B. I've been in MarTech world for 5 years and the last 3 years at Demandbase, which for those of you who don't know, Demandbase is a platform that supports sales, marketing, customer success, and partners for a go-to-market strategy.
And I'm Blake Williams. I'm the founder of Ampfactor, and we're a partner of Demandbase, not HubSpot yet. But yet.
Yeah, party.
Right, exactly. Getting it done. This is my background. Sold my first company. It was an AI big data consultancy, sold it to a hedge fund, went to a venture capital fund. And part of what I was doing there as a managing director was working with the portfolio companies to go out and acquire their alpha, beta, delta customers and the subsequent revenue that would follow so that we can get them in position to invest. While doing that, I realized there was a massive opportunity to deploy ABM, both for direct teams, but over the past 30 months, our company's grown from 0 to 30 bodies and 27 SaaS and service companies leveraging account-based marketing in the channel. And it's something that's significantly special, and from an investor perspective, it's the best new revenue that you're ever going to get. But putting technology and teams and support, especially from marketing around that, really changes the game. And hopefully we paint that picture for you today.
Amazing. So some of the things we're going to be covering today is why should you put in the effort? A lot of times marketing and partnerships, they're very limited in how they're collaborating, how they're sharing data with each other, how they're engaging. So we want to take a high level and say, why should you bother to do this? Because it is effort, and most likely you're going to have to make the initiative, set up the conversations, put forth an argument. And then we're going to talk about it from two directions. How do you take marketing tools and leverage them in your work to scale out your partner program? But also, how do you get marketing to use ecosystem data so they can further their own KPIs, which not only benefits your organization, but benefits the partner org, because then marketing is your advocate. Marketing is saying, hey, this partnership stuff is pretty cool, and let's all invest more in it.
Buy-in has been like the most common thing I've heard in all the sessions today and yesterday is getting buy-in. So I think, have you guys talked about to your CMO about getting buy-in, and how do you go about doing that, having that conversation?
Yeah, I think from what I see is that it's all about love languages, right? If I want you to do something for me, ultimately I've got to help you see how I'm going to help you win, right? And part of that just means mapping back and showing how some of the partner sourced revenue helps marketing achieve marketing influence revenue, or whatever that KPI is that the CMO is interested in. They likely don't know that the opportunity to get involved to that extent to accelerate your go-to-market with partners is even there, or it may not even be something that they're thinking about. So bringing that to their attention in a language they can understand is key, right? That way they're going to come back and say, oh, I can double my opportunity to create revenue or influence revenue if I just give you support on X, Y, and Z campaigns. That changes the game for them, right? Makes it way easier for them to be successful in their own role. So.
Yeah, and I think as we're showing here, besides budget cuts and cutting down on headcount, one of the things you need to think about as a partnerships person is partnerships as a field is getting more competitive. And we talk a lot about relationships and trust, but the reality is any given company can only partner with so many people. So you're competing with other partners for attention at the end of the day. And this is where marketing tools can come into play. And one thing is branding, right? How do you create that partner brand? In some ways, my whole role at HubSpot is to create a partner brand that we are partner friendly and you should want, and we understand partnerships, right? Every company needs to do that, even if it's just you, the partner manager, doing that. And you can go to marketing and they already have playbooks for creating a brand. They know about narrative storytelling. Use their tools. Same thing with partner profiling. There's robust frameworks around creating an ideal customer profile. Take some of those, use them, and then start to apply them to the partnerships because you don't need to reinvent that wheel. And I see a lot of conversations in partnership people where they're trying to reinvent the wheel.
That's such a good point, and I love what you're doing with your company because you're taking the ABM motion, the account-based marketing motion that your direct sales team is probably already doing today, and you're moving it over to the partnerships team. So we're sharing resources, and that's free.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't get any better, and especially if you're leading a partnership team or you're on it, you haven't felt supported in going to market until you've actually ran an ABM campaign at a target account that you want to go. And I mean a robust ABM campaign, one that has a specific video that talks about your Better Together story from two different angles, right? From your point of view, but also to your partner's customer's point of view. Landing pages, ads, events, all of those things. And we do that at a higher level for a few partners, but it leaves so much revenue on the table to take that process, automate it, rinse and repeat, and just start running it down the tail of the partnership pool.
Yeah, and what are some of the things that you guys think if somebody actually implements, what are the types of results they're going to see? What are the improvements?
Yeah, we saw some of that earlier today, but I know just from my own customer base, right? And as a solution, we're more expensive than the traditional methodology of buying marketing, mostly because we align with higher level strategic outcomes for businesses, right? Obviously, the channel is a massive flywheel. What we see for sure is that in the channel, your cost of customer acquisition is going to be significantly lower. We talked about data and sharing before, and I think we're going to talk more about it. It's almost the cheapest thing that you can do because it's free, right? And it's also, I'm not going to go into it yet. Well, I'll save that, but it's exciting. Because if you use that information, you can then deploy it. Faster sales cycles, bigger beachhead deals, right? More geographies, more users off the top. It just makes sense. It just makes sense.
And we're seeing a faster go-to-market, hitting the ground running, right? You spend all this time in your partnership deals. It's your baby getting going. Whether you're trying to do it for internal buy-in or your go-to-market, you have everything behind you now.
Yeah, the power of brand and data, which is what marketing is already using, on top of attribution, you're just going to lower customer acquisition cost, more partners, better invested partners, better campaigns. So that's the outcomes that you're trying to hit. Those are the goals, but where do you start? And I think the first thing that you need to do is understand who you're talking to, right? So we are in the partnerships world. We have our own language, our own jargon, our own KPIs. The first thing you have to do is understand what is your marketing department KPI'd on, and where do you go? How do you find that out?
Yeah, and does anyone here have partner marketing? Okay, more than I thought, which is great. Anyone feel like maybe they have half a person or partner marketing is just one person, they can only do so much, right? Yeah, I met somebody last night and he was like, we're just gonna tell our marketer that they're now doing partner marketing and see how that goes. Okay, if we're going to do that, let's come to them with a strategy. Right. But find out what are their KPIs. Like, do you guys know with your partner marketing how they're getting KPI'd, OKR'd, how they get bonused? Could you tell somebody off the top of your head?
Right.
It's tough.
And think about, once you do map that, your KPI to their KPI. What do you want from them to do? What do you want them to, how do you want them to engage and support you? I have that picture up there of the funnel and the volcano, because the sales funnel it's a rumor. It implies that gravity or something naturally wants to fall out the bottom. And anybody who's ever sold anything knows that it's like a volcano and nothing happens unless you push on it, right? Unless you continuously have those 28 touch points in that journey, right? You might be creating that buying experience, but by delivering that content, you are applying pressure to bring them out the top and win, right? Understand how you want them to engage in your partner operations to support you at what point in the sales cycle or at the top of the funnel, so that when they ask that question, how can I help, you already have that planned in.
And I want to point out, too, make sure that you know your marketing org's KPIs and not just your partner marketers' KPIs, because those partner marketers may be reporting to marketing, they may be reporting to partnership, and you're probably more likely to already understand what their particular KPIs, and maybe they're very well aligned, but you want to understand what the CMO's KPIs are. What is the whole marketing org trying to do, and how can you fit into that picture? Because that's when you're going to be able to fully leverage those tools and those frameworks.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Okay, so budget's tight. We all know this. We're feeling strapped. We're usually like a 1 or 2 partner person team over here, and we're learning to work with partner marketing. What do? Well, we start with the data, right? There's 3 types of data that if you guys take away anything, there's 3 different types of data that you get to use. First one is first-party data. That's your company's own data. That's all the information they own on your prospects and customers. And that's usually highly reliable, and it's free. Then you have second-party data, which is essentially your partner data. Again, highly reliable, and it's free. Right now, your CFO is loving the strategy. You're marrying your first and second-party data. And then, of course, you have third-party data. Third-party data actually enriches the first and second-party data. You have your partner's data, but then you have some holes and gaps in there, and that's where the third-party data comes in, and that's why it costs money. You got to pay for that one. But here, these 3, that's the trifecta. If you're going to create a target account, that's your go-to-market strategy right there.
Right. But that second point right there is a pile of gold, right? So it's the only place in partnerships. It costs nothing to go out and create a partner and create a meaningful story together. And it also costs nothing to then talk about our overlapping opportunities. So far, we're free. And from an investor perspective, that sounds amazing, right? Especially your CMO, if they already have a CAC to LTV ratio that's way out of whack on the direct side, you can subsidize that because the CAC to LTV ratio on the partnership side is significantly wider, right? The ratio is just phenomenal. So that second-party data, because it's free, it's also the most accurate, right? You have somebody who already has 3 years of account intelligence coming to you about what their challenges are and what to do next. You literally cannot go by that anywhere. The chief marketing officer, that story should resonate extremely well with them, because when you create that content and bring that to life, you hope that it's spraying and praying, or you hope that even more so that it's around an actual opportunity. So they'll be able to start to tell that story of how they're influencing the revenue that you guys are bringing in. So that key right there, the second-party data, harvesting that, leveraging it with the third-party data that is already being used on the direct side for sure.
It's like your catalyst.
Yes, it's the catalyst. It's the catalyst for sure.
Yeah, I think that the trifecta is the right word, because you want to be leveraging all 3 of these types of data in your organization. And the truth is, you have to look at it too as quantity and control. You have the most control over your first-party data. So if you're doing it right, it's going to be the highest quality. You know exactly where it came from. And second-party data is going to be high quality, but you can get it more scaled, right? You're just one organization. You can't have the same scale when you start to team up with partners. And third-party data, there's the most of it because of the market, but you have the least control. You don't know where it came from. It's more likely to be out of date. Second-party data, you trust your partners, you form relationships that you value, and you know that it's going to be higher quality. So really taking all of these 3 together is going to be the most powerful.
That's the acceleration. Okay, so we're going to get really tactful here, because that's what was asked, is like, how do I actually do this? Well, there's some great vendors outside if you haven't talked to them. like Crossbeam and Reveal. And what they do is marry the first and second party data, right? And they have a free model. And so once you get that, you can enrich the data. Now, when I talk about data enrichment, I'm talking about intent, the intent to buy. This puts customers and prospects in the market. I'm talking about technographic data. That's your qualification. What is their current tech stack right now? Do they have a complementary software, or do they have a competitor in there? How are we going to talk to them? Those two, compared with first and second party data, that's powerful. That's your accelerator right there. But there's also machine learning modeling that you can do, and contacts, right? You got to have the most up-to-date contacts if we know who we're going to go after. Now you might be asking, okay, this looks a little complex, I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed. Well, guess what? Your sales team is probably already doing this, and your marketing team probably has this information. Ask them for it. Repurpose what we learned in session 1 in the university is repurpose what you have. And guess what? If they don't have it, then maybe your partner has it, and you guys can use that for your go-to-market strategy. And if they don't have it, maybe you just ping me and I cut you a deal. Because once you have it, then you got these funnels over here, and this is what marketing does all day, every day. This is your 3 funnels that you're going to want to talk to them about. It's your overlap, your mutual customer base that you're going to talk to. It's your underlap, the customers that your partners have and the prospects that you want. And then it's your white space. And the great thing about white space is they're going to actually give you accounts that you probably didn't have on your radar. And how you talk to them is going to be very different in each funnel. And how you categorize them in the funnel where they are in your current sales cycle is going to depend on how much money and time you actually want to spend on them. And I guarantee you, if you go to your marketing team and work on this, and they go to more C-level people, you're going to get the buy-in that you want.
I think, and tools like PartnerTab, Crossbeam, Reveal, they're really being heavily used for the partnership use case and for co-selling, but you don't see a lot of usage on the marketing use case. And for each of these buckets, you can have marketing components where you are driving marketing campaigns that are pushing people forward in the funnel or even closing them depending on your product model. And Blake, I don't know from your experience if you can sort of share some real life examples of things you've seen where this type of data is being used to actually drive these results.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you have a partner that has a target opportunity, they're a current customer, and maybe it's a cubed or matrix organization, and they already have one deal, but there's probably 6 deals to be had, or there's a larger transformation story that you can tell. And even if they've been a long customer, maybe the day-to-day operations person is not the person who's going to sell that vision. They also don't hold the C-suite mind share, right? And they might have a day-to-day contact. So this is the ability to sell tall, deep, and wide. And if you engage marketing, then it's the videos, it's everything that brings an idea or a vision to life, right? And we've done this multiple times and it's usually the case that a seller has a day-to-day contact, that it's a director, but we need the C-suite to know who we are, be aware, so that we can have fewer meetings as we try to build buy-in, right? And so what we do is we launch a campaign to start to tell that better together story, but we don't plan to ask for the time or the meeting for another 90 days, right? So we know for sure that we're picking out the people in the buying council and then giving them the message that they need, which might break down to different personas. The CTO needs to hear something completely different than the CMO, right, than the chief financial officer. So 3 different stories, all around the same thing, all around the better together story, but brought to life with all the assets that are necessary for you to have a good buying experience, right? We're just giving them that exact same thing, not trying to sell to them, showing them what that picture is, and hopefully they come walking towards us, right? Hopefully they see it and they ask us, hey, can we have a conversation about this and explore it further? So, and 9 times out of 10, that's what happens. We end up at the table, and we're able to do some jobs to be done type interviewing, so we can go back and actually recraft that solution that we thought was on target and dial it all the way in. And usually that deal size ends up being significantly more, mostly because I think they feel listened to, right? Not because of what we're doing is special, but because the buying process, because we engaged marketing, because we're there to support, has changed the game or changed the way that felt to go through that experience. So.
What was it, 28 times that they get touched, Ty was saying earlier?
Yeah, 28 touches. Yeah.
That sounds better.
Yeah, before you convert. So, and that's everybody in the council, right? If you're trying to sell a large deal, and there's 7 to 8 members who need to make a decision, and nobody knows who you are, that's a lot of touch points, and it's hard for a seller or a single AE with email and a cell phone and LinkedIn to get all that done. Well, no wonder we don't close more deals. Just saying. So if we tap into marketing, we can enable that and really scale how we can storytell, right?
Yeah, and I think a lot of those 28 touches, they're not all going to be partners. Like some people put partnerships and ecosystems at the top of the funnel, but it's not linear in that way. Marketing is already doing brand, they're doing community, they're doing paid ads that can be surfaced to joint accounts that you reveal in these types of tools. So it doesn't have to be just partnerships to really get full coverage in those 28 touches. And Nicole, I know you've been thinking a lot about how you can leverage tools like Demandbase in conjunction with tools like Crossbeam, and I wonder if you want to share some of like what that would look like if a company decided to do that.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking partnerships left and right around here, but the target account list is really where you want to start, and there's amazing things that you can do that your company already has. And I think that's the key part here is if you have a marketing team of at least 4 people, they probably already own Demandbase or a software like it. And so tap into them and start talking their love language and see how you guys can work together. Because the go-to-market strategy is going to be so much easier with that automation piece there. And it's going to actually drive results that you can track within the platform, which is even better.
Right, and so part of the reason why we partnered with Demandbase is because we know that one, ABM is hard to do right. When you're doing it robustly, right, not pure ads or not just creating content, or it depends on how you grew up as a marketer. It takes all the things, right, to create that experience. And part of the reason why we partnered is to help channel leaders tell that story and realize that value significantly faster, because our team has that muscle of executing these things. And a lot of times when you're putting your name on the line, trying to get some things done and grow, you don't have time to sit there and figure out what's the right combination of tools to put together, and how do I mobilize that for the maximum amount of output that I can create for my team.
That's why you have partners like us.
Exactly. So you just go to the Ampfactor website or call Blake. So, yeah. Sorry.
So Nicole, what are some of the key takeaways that you would want the audience to walk away with?
The biggest one is you guys already have the technology and the data. Use it. Use the community to understand how to use it. I'm happy to talk with you guys one-on-one, but also the technologies that's out there. Your sales and marketing team is using it, and if they're not, they're probably trying to buy it, and you would probably be another great use case to push that forward for the budget, and maybe that'll open some budget up for you guys as well in the future.
What about you, Blake?
You might already have the tools, right? You might already have the tools and the team. But again, the first time you play baseball, you probably won't go to the World Series. So having that muscle, right, having a team like Ampfactor come in and help you orchestrate that thing. And part of our value proposition is that we've already gone out and built the tech stack, and Demandbase is part of that, so that you don't have to figure out how the sausage gets made. All we need to do is talk strategically about the accounts that we're going to go after and what the outcome that we're looking to create is. And marketing will love the fact that they can now double their flywheel volume without having to really shift their processes. But
I am going to introduce you at the yacht party as the muscle of Demandbase.
there we go. I love it.
Yeah, I think so. It's something to really remember here, essentially, is this is a new motion that you're going to have to create. The reality is the partnerships community is having a great conversation with itself, but other revenue-generating teams are not fully even understanding what is going on, let alone leveraging the data. So you really have to proactively approach them, understand what their KPIs are, understand what they're trying to do. And second-party data leading with that is going to be your best bet, because it really just slots in completely with their current goals. And by taking some of their tools, leveraging them, showing them the results, and driving revenue on your side, you're going to create this great partnership within your department that is just going to drive more revenue and lower your customer acquisition cost.
I love that, a partnership within your development. It's true.
Any final words?
Yeah, if you guys want to have a conversation about how to structure that or how to make this argument in your own organization, we're in the Slack community. Feel free to reach out if you're interested in Demandbase or HubSpot or how to extract all the value out that you can inside the partnership side. Just let us know. We're happy to talk about it.
Thank you.
Well, Blake also just became the muscle of partnership leaders for like repping the Slack channel.